built that flu. And I remember 12, 13 years ago when this was first breaking in the late 90s, that it was rumored they were going to rebuild it. Now they admit they have, but quote, for research.
Yeah, and these are all in public documents now. I had it 1997, March 6th, given to me by these scientists and doctors who smuggled the documents out of the World Health Organization. They were going to take this, and then they were going to add avian genes and insert it into the bird population in Asia. And then they were going to later, quote, cause the release of bridging viruses that will allow it to jump into humans and other animals. That's just happened. Now, whether this wave is the big one, I don't know, but I can tell you what Napolitano is telling us, that watch out for the next wave. There's almost certainly at least two substrains. The one in America is not very lethal. It's like a bad flu. But the one in Mexico City, if there's hundreds dead, or even 100 dead out of, say, 2,000, that's a pretty high lethality rate. And we're talking
Is that because it's been there longer and mutated into a worse?
Well, it could be several reasons. Like,
or is it because they're sick down there and aren't healthy?
Well, when you're unhealthy, you see you have more free radicals in your body, or if you're exposed to toxins, like Dr. Tenpenny said, if you want to take a virus and you want to make that virus mutate and become more aggressive, you can insert it into an animal and actually inject the animal with toxins or poisons, and it'll actually make that virus more aggressive and it'll make it mutate faster. So what's probably happening is a simple process of recombination. We know that they inserted the H5N1, and there's specific genes. So when the genetics come out, there's a gene deletion on the PB2 gene that makes it completely bypass interleukin-4 in all mammals. So there's no warning system at all. It's even worse than in 1918.
So it gets through the defenses of the body, and I want you to get back into that in the time we've got before Steve Quayle comes up. But the key here is every doctor I've talked to on and off air is saying, and they'll especially say off air. On air, they say it's suspicious. Off air, they say, no way the way this virus is set up with pig, human, and bird. This thing is designer.
Yeah, I can visualize in my mind that they had a lab truck spraying it around Mexico City or the favelas around it, the slums, where you have sickened and weak populations. But the fact is that now the bird populations in all continents now have these lethal genes. It's going to bridge from birds, say, to cattle, humans, pigs, God knows what. And this is the first of many waves. In the steamship age, it took months for the next wave to happen. My grandmother lost a brother and a sister, and the little sister died due to the swine flu in 1918. The brother was so upset by his sister, he went to hug her in her coffin, and the next week they buried him. So I have a personal reason. The primary reason why I got into radio to get the truth out, besides civil defense for issues like nuclear war, etc., the primary number one reason with these documents I was given 12 years ago to warn people, when they keep telling you that there's going to be an avian flu pandemic, and a lot of doctors didn't believe it, I had the inside documents, I had the genetics, I had the background on infectious disease. They were doing everything they can to create it. It wouldn't happen spontaneously. They now have released the bridging virus, which is this new super hybrid, and future waves, if this is not the big one, are going to come, and they're going to come quickly.
Now, normally they say a virus peaks in about 90 days, but I mean, they all vary.
It all depends on the genetics. You see, this is going to recombine. It's this strain. The one in America seems to be relatively mild. We don't have anybody dead, but in Mexico City, and as it changes and recombines, it can recombine very quickly.
But how do we know that it's not the same virus? It's just that they're...
We don't know because they won't release the data. They never release the data.
Well, they are acting very secretive, and I've had call after call on and off air from Mexico where they say 70% of the people they know are sick. You go to the hospital, people are vomiting everywhere, blood coming out their noses. And this is similar to what we saw in 1918.
Right. It causes a hemorrhagic diathesis. It causes a cytokine storm. And if it's bad enough, the stronger your immune system, more deadly it is. So that's why people need to pay attention. It's not just how bad this is now. It's that the virus is then going to get into other animals, dogs, cats, birds, and as it recombines there, because it has the receptor binding domain to get back to humans, we now have a returning vector system where it can get into cattle, it can get into people's pets. We already have a pandemic where birds all over the world, I have reports from game wardens in British Columbia, from Washington State, from Oregon.
Pigs are dying all over the United States.
Exactly.
That's in the mainstream news.
Right, so now we have the proof that there is a pandemic in birds. There's now a pandemic in pigs. And the likelihood is that when this recombines in future waves, and they've done this because their plan is, and they were told me this in these documents, these physicians gave me these documents, said this is to reduce the world population by at least 2 billion. Okay, they are doing everything. They're behind schedule. All of the public documents
and
you put in your end game.
They use their staged terror attacks of 9/11 to put the control grid in to tell you it's for brown-skinned guys in caves. And then now they admit, oh, this Homeland Security's for you, the gun owners. You're the number one threat in veterans. So they need us to be straitjacketed and to be listed as the enemies. So when they move with a mass plague, we stand down.
Exactly, and their whole idea is the statement by Kissinger just a few weeks ago was that the American public will be disarmed by September because they plan on waves between now and September that'll be sufficient. That'll be basically will protect you if you'll pass in your guns and come to our civil detention camps. Oh. And right now the strain is supposedly sensitive to oseltamivir or Tamiflu, which of course Mr. Satan himself has shares in it. Rumsfeld, but the fact is that this is going to require resistance extremely fast within days. So it's useless. Vaccines will be useless. This will continue to mutate and change. The only thing is self-quarantine at home, and of course a whole series of nutraceuticals, and they can check with me on that, but there are things that will block it. The government could have installed a system called Aeroclave, which was developed with Homeland Security, but they haven't done it to actually clear all aircraft. They could have had a biohazard Center for Disease Control.
Do mask help? Because we confirm.
Yes, you need a nanomask. You need a nanoparticle mask. Regular droplet masks that the doctors and nurses have won't do anything. That's why it didn't stop the coronavirus or SARS. This is going to be a really big mess because the doctors are not trained how to do infectious control properly, and they will have casualties.
But even a regular mask reduces some. I mean, it'll block a larger
a little bit. I would not,
because the virus will be within a
exactly. It's going to block some, but you want to have.
Thank you, Dr. Deagle. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
The world appears to be on the brink of collapse. Experts say a pinch of heirloom vegetable seed could soon be the most valuable resource on Earth because it will provide healthy food now and every year after. Survivalistseeds.com now has the Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule, allowing you to store your seeds for the future anywhere, even underground, for 100 years. The Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule can withstand 3 tons of weight, is 100% rodent-proof, waterproof, and comes with a whopping 6,000 healthy vegetable seeds from 20 varieties that will grow anywhere in the USA. Unless you trust the government, the Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule and heirloom seeds from Survivalistseeds.com is your long-term food solution. Our competition charges 10 cents to $1.25 per seed for these same heirloom varieties. But you can now have a head of lettuce, a bundle of carrots, a basket of tomatoes, a giant watermelon, and 16 other varieties for about a penny a seed each. Be prepared. Buy your heirloom seeds today from Survivalistseeds.com and have food insurance for your family forever. Visit Survivalistseeds.com. Survivalistseeds.com is owned by Big John Lipscomb, host of the Don't Tread on Me radio show.
In the New World Order's war against humanity, Barack Obama is the tip of the spear.
We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well-funded.
The Obama deception completely destroys the myth that Obama is working for the best interest of the American people.
Well, Obama's already fudging. He's fudged since day one in this election.
If you have a demagogue with a fanatical mass movement of personality cultists who is imposing the program of a group of extreme bankers and finance oligarchs, that's fascist.
It's not about left or right. It's about a one-world government. This film documents who Obama works for, the lies he has told, and his real agenda. Get your copy of The Obama Deception today at Infowars.com or download it in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. The Obama Deception. The people strike back. Alex Jones here with a question. What does humidity mean to you? Most people think of hot and sticky summer days, but many people are beginning to realize that humidity can be a valuable source of pure drinking water. That's why I'd like you to visit AcolaBlue.com. Acola Blue is a state-of-the-art atmospheric water generator, producing purified drinking water from the humidity in the air using reverse osmosis and a 5-stage carbon and UV light filtration system, which produces great-tasting water at an unbeatable price. Finally, drinking water that you control. I use one every day. Say goodbye to expensive water delivery services and storing 5-gallon bottles of water in your home. The Acola Blue 28 is shipped right to your home, ready to make close to 7 gallons a day, right out of the box. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call Acola Blue right now at 1-800-691-6043. That's 1-800-691-6043. Or visit Acola Blue at ECOLOBLUE.com today.
this folder from a few weeks ago? Mass graves. We'll talk about this with Steve Quayle coming up in the next hour. You know, you're not going to hear a full spectrum analysis from every angle, every view. And they're really getting a truly diverse analysis. You're going to hear that on mainstream news. They're just dumbing it down, trying to fearmonger, tell you a bunch of Tamiflu is going to save you when all it does is accelerate the mutations of the virus to a more deadly strain. So I would ask everybody to keep spreading the word. If you're listening to us on AM and FM right now, tell people at red lights, hey, tune into this station. Or on the internet, tell your friends and family, tune in on the free streams at Infowars.com. If you want to hear any of what we've just covered in the last 2 hours, 55 minutes, the whole 4-hour show will be posted a little bit after the show today at Infowars.